TV and film production are set to restart in the United States after the Actors Union agreed to a tentative deal with studio bosses to end strikes. The strike had shut down production across the industry for nearly 4 months, delaying hundreds of popular shows and films.
For months, the glitz in Tinseltown faded to black as filming shut down amid the ongoing strike between actors and the major studios. But overnight, Hollywood erupting in applause. A tentative agreement was reached between the Actors Union SAG-AFTRA and the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, which represents the major studios.
It is historic and we got so much.
The studio saying the AMPTP is pleased to have reached a tentative agreement and looks forward to the industry resuming the work of telling great stories. For 118 days, scripted movies and TV shows were abruptly halted as the studios and actors clashed over a variety of issues, from wages to protecting actors from being replaced by artificial intelligence.
We worked hard to put together and push for a package that we felt comfortable with. And that's not an easy thing to do around AI because everyone is nervous about AI.
Actors saying they're eager to get back to work.
Finally, action.
So when can we actually see action? It's not as simple as just turning the cameras back on. Scripts have to be written, set designs created. There's a lot of prep work that needs to be done before actors can return to work. All this coming on the heels of the Writers Guild strike, which ended September 27th. Because of both strikes, upcoming seasons for shows like Euphoria, The Last of Us, and White Lotus have all been pushed back to 2025.
Joining me now live for more on this is Nova FM presenter Smallzy. Smallzy, thank you so much for joining us. How big of a breakthrough is it?
Oh, thank the Lord. We're so excited. Everyone is excited that everyone's back to the table. Everyone's working again because there's been a drought. It's been a celebrity drought. I can tell you that. There's been 118 days. I think the last time a big Hollywood superstar, anyone who was a member of SAG, did an interview was Tom Cruise and Margot Robbie here in Sydney, back with Barbie and Mission Impossible. It was sort of, they went off on strike straight after that. So it's been a long time.
Oh, it has been. And there's a real drought. I think you've put that perfectly. From an actor's perspective, from a Hollywood perspective, is it a big moment in your view? I mean, they won in the end.
Well, I think I think everyone won, I think, a little bit. I think the big movie studios didn't end up paying exactly what the union wanted, and the union got more than what the studios initially came to the table with. I think there's some interesting developments there, particularly around the streaming royalties. Because I think the previous deals that a lot of the actors were working under didn't allow them to make any sort of royalties or bonuses based on the streaming numbers. And so this sort of puts them into this 21st century environment where a lot of the work actually gets distributed these days.
I wonder, though, have they really won the battle against AI? How can they think maybe that they have?
Well, it's very interesting. I think it was very concerning because I think there was an option on the table where one of the movie studios wanted to pay. I must also say that this is less about your Tom Cruises and your Nicole Kidmans. That they're rich beyond everyone's wildest imagination. Their lives don't change. But I think it's for the entry level actors, the ones that are getting into the business, the ones that are starting out, the ones that will have to book job to job to sort of pay the bills. There was one option on the table, almost 200 days ago, where one movie studio wanted to pay extras a one-day fee where they would film them like a 360 camera sort of situation, and then pay them a day rate of, let's say, $150 and then they would own the rights of their image in perpetuity to be used in any movie or in any TV series for the rest of time. And so that's where I think SAG was like, whoa, hang on a second. We need to pump the brakes here. There's no future in this for anybody if we can start artificially pushing in background work and extra work and just, it be AI generated.
Yeah, that's a frightening thought, actually.
Isn't it?
Smallzy,
Isn't it? For you
quite
people like you
scary.
and I, for people like you and I who are sitting here and talking in real life now, it's like, you
Yeah.
mean that they have the ability to make us? Well, I mean, you see it now when it comes to politics and all of the issues around deep fakes. You can get
Yes.
someone to say something that looks and feels like it's real, and it can go viral on the internet. And so that was in an attempt of what Hollywood was trying to do with the background work. Makes it much easier and cheaper than having to pay 200 or 300 extras over the course of a movie if you can just plop them in CGI at the end.
And just, plot them in CGI. That's terrifying. But look, well done to them for trying to achieve what they wanted to. So in terms of production then, where does this leave us? Do you think we'll see production ramp up? And what about here in Australia as well?
It's really interesting. The Australian arm of it, I've obviously interview actors on the regular. A lot of Australian actors who may not be members of SAG, who weren't necessarily on strike when they might come to an Australian production here. So they weren't prevented from working because obviously they're not a member of SAG. They don't have to strike because they're working here in Australia. But some of them were very tentative of ever talking publicly about working because they wanted to sort of stand in solidarity. So in terms of Australian productions, anything that's like an Australian base, it's been rolling along as it is. Sydney Sweeney, you might have seen the paparazzi photos. She's back in Australia at the moment. She started filming a movie with Glenn Powell earlier this year. The movie had to stop, but then she landed into Sydney, I think, yesterday, and they've already been spotted at Bondi Beach doing reshoots. So the business is like, it's turned back to 100% very quickly. But in terms of sort of like long lead productions, Deadpool 3 is delayed by over 12 months. The follow-up to Mission Impossible, which had Tom Cruise here earlier this year, that's been pushed back another summer. Because I think also, too, with these movie studios spending so much on these blockbuster movies, while they could get them back into production today, they're not going to release them in the winter. They're going to want to save it for that summer blockbuster for North America, which is going to put you into 2025, which is where you'll see a lot of these movies being delayed.
Yeah, gosh, that's a shame. Some of those big ones are being delayed, but good to see. Hopefully full production ramps up. Smallzy, great to speak with you. Thank you for joining us.
Great to see you. Have a wonderful weekend.